As I mentioned tonight, I'll be given an update. I had the opportunity to go on a missions trip over to Ireland earlier this summer. Really, kind of right after school ended, at the end of May. Actually 9 days, Tuesday, May 26th through the following Thursday, June 4th. And it was a good opportunity to join really another team that was traveling from North Carolina. This is a group from Matthews, North Carolina, Bible Baptist Church, my sister's church down there. And I was able to travel with them. This is my second missions trip. I was able to go with them. A couple years ago, I had the opportunity to tag along with them up to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. A couple years ago, and we were able to run a kind of a junior day camp, teen camp, and ended up being a family camp at that point. Several of the same team members were able to go this time. We were a little bit of a smaller group, I think, than we were a couple years ago. And so most of these are from the church there. The gentleman second to the left was our leader, Brad Parker. Brad and Amy were kind of our leaders for that one. Their daughter, college-age daughter Anna, is the one on the far right. She was able to go too. But really, my in actually is my sister, Lauren. Some of you have been able to meet her. She was able to go there. That's her home church down there in North Carolina that she's at. So they let me tag along as well for that. So it's a good opportunity to get with them. Like I said, I was able to travel with many of them 2 years ago. But the format of the trip this time, I really was able to spend more time with the team members there, the group from North Carolina. The last time I was kind of the speaker for the juniors, and so I did interact with the North Carolina crew. But there were times where I was doing different things than they were. But this time I was just really just another one of the team members there. So it was a great opportunity to get to fellowship with everybody there. It's a great crew. I was thankful for Brad and Amy Parker and them inviting me to be able to be a part of that. Like I said, most of them are from North Carolina. They've got one from South Carolina that joined there as well. But our trip here this time was to travel and to go over to the country, the island of Ireland. And we went to three main locations. But where we spent most of our time was Carrick-on-Shannon, or Carrick, you could say, on the River Shannon. And then we had opportunity to go up to Derry, Northern Ireland for a couple days, and then we kind of came back down to Dublin. We flew in and out of Dublin, traveled up on Tuesday the 26th out of Detroit, had a direct flight that was supposed to leave, I don't know, it was supposed to leave at maybe 9:45 or something like that, 9:30 in the evening, late flight, direct flight over. And then there was, something was not right with the plane, and so they delayed us a good nearly 3 hours. I think it was after midnight that I actually left Detroit there, and I kind of laughed. There was a gentleman, waiting for the flight in front of me. I think he had business over in Dublin. He looks back to me. We were talking for a little bit, and I didn't even realize this. He was frustrated because apparently Delta has a policy that if they delay you 3 hours, they start having to pay you stuff. But we got delayed 2 hours and 45 minutes. So, okay. So we got over there, and I was going to meet the North Carolina crew over there in Dublin. We both had direct flights, them out of Charlotte, me out of Detroit. And if things had gone according to plan, we would have arrived there, good grief, within an hour of each other, but they had to wait on me a little bit. That's fine. So left Tuesday night. It's just about a 7-hour trip across the Atlantic. You get there with the time change. You get there Wednesday morning or late morning at that point. I think I got there. It was close to 12 o'clock maybe by the time I got there. And so then we ended up driving a couple hours west. I used our junior day camp sign here. I figured that would be a little more fun than just finding Google Maps. I don't know if you can see the dogs straight in the middle of the island. That's about where Carrick is. Kind of that northern middle part of the island, Carrick-on-Shannon. Dublin is on the east, if you can see the Viking ship trying to raid the Irish there. And that's where Dublin is. So we traveled a couple hours west to get to the middle of the island there. And that's where we spent a majority of our time, really Wednesday through Sunday. We were there for Sunday services. And then Monday we traveled north and really went along the coast there and then ended up in Derry, Northern Ireland. Spent a couple days, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we traveled back down south and made it back to Dublin spent a little bit of time sightseeing on Wednesday in Dublin, and then we had Thursday morning flights back to the States at that point. But we were there primarily in Carrick to visit the Moores. Josh Moore and his wife Annie, and they have 4 young ones. Kian is there in the middle of them, and then you have Eva and Rory in front of Josh, and then Annie's holding Alec. They've been there in Ireland 10, 11 years at this point. Josh is from Maryland to begin with, and our leader, Brad Parker, he's from Maryland also. They kind of bonded over this trip. They're from similar areas and know similar people, and they bonded over Old Bay seasoning. If you've ever been to Maryland, they love their crabs and Old Bay. The North Carolina crew took over a couple. We were in contact with the Moores ahead of time, did a couple Zoom meetings, and setting up what we were going to do while we were there. And so Brad and the North Carolina crew brought a couple things over from the States that they can't get over, Pop-Tarts and things like that. And they went over and they got the biggest container of Old Bay over at Costco that they could get. Took that over for Josh, and he thought he was in heaven with all that Old Bay had there. Annie's actually from Ohio, I believe from the Canton area. I don't know my Eastern Ohio as much as Western. She said the town, and I was not familiar with it. But she's from Ohio. They're Maranatha Baptist University grads. They're great people. Good opportunity. I'd never met them before, but it was a good opportunity to work with them, serve with them. Josh pastors the church there, Calvary Baptist Church. And they have an assistant pastor there too, Alistair and Christina. I did not have a picture of Christina. They're his wife, but we were able to serve alongside them too. They are English, and so they grew up in England, and they traveled over. They moved over to Ireland, and now are serving as assistant pastor there as well. So it was an awesome opportunity to get to know Alistair. He was with us on several of our ministries, our outreaches that we were a part of as well. And you can kind of tell too, Josh is really pouring into Alistair. He serves as an elder there, as an assistant pastor there, and he is more and more getting an opportunity to speak, to preach to the folks there. So it was awesome to be able to get to see him as well. And so we were there in Carrick. We traveled. We get there Wednesday morning and are trying to survive, trying to stay awake through the day. Wednesday is the point. You travel overnight. If you can get any sleep on the plane, sure, that's great. But then we were 5 hours ahead of us here in Findlay. And so then if you can make it through the day, don't take a nap, don't sleep or anything till you're supposed to sleep that night. And if you can sleep through the night, then theoretically you should be good. You should be adjusted. Well, that only helps if you sleep through the night, all that night. A couple of us maybe struggled to sleep all the way through that night there. As some of you may know, over in Europe, they must be allergic to air conditioning over there, or the government is. Probably is more likely what's going on there. Especially in Ireland, they have more temperate climate than we do. So the Airbnb that we stayed at there, they didn't have any air conditioning, things like that. Well, some of you are like me, and you need to be in the frozen tundra to sleep that night. That's the way I am, at least. And so I was staying, Jared and I were sharing a room there on the second floor of our Airbnb. And some of y'all would have been fine sleeping in that without good grief. It was just too hot for me. Had a hard time adjusting to that. Got there eventually though, through it. On the left, Josh and Annie Moore, they had us over that evening on Wednesday. Annie fixed us some dinner there. We were just hanging out, getting to lay the land, many of us getting to meet them for the first time there. And the assistant pastor, Alistair and his wife, Christina, they are neighbors with the Moores, so they just walked over from next door, and we were able to fellowship with them in their backyard there. And so then you see a picture of Calvary Baptist Church. It is a storefront building that they're in right now. I think my next picture is even the best one. We'll get there in a second. Yeah, there it is. So right there, the town's not all that big, maybe about 4,500 people there in Carrick. But they've got a storefront right there that they've just moved into the past several months. I think it's back in January. They moved in there. They had been renting from a school and meeting there in the school building before that. And it was kind of hard to get the word out about them. Not a ton of people there in Carrick knew about Calvary Baptist at that point. But now that they are in this storefront here, we could tell even as we were there hosting events, being there on Sunday, they're right there with the towns, the shops, the barber shops, the pubs, everything there. And anybody going down that main drag right there, they see right in there those main buildings. They see a lot of what's going on. And so we saw there were a lot of eyes, a lot of people seeing what was going on at the church. So it's a great opportunity. Pastor Josh, Pastor Alistair, we're very excited about the church building that they are in now, able to have stuff there. That's some of our team members. We were kind of going up and down, getting a lay for the land as we were there. We were really, where we were staying, our Airbnb is, good grief, just a couple 100 feet away. We're actually traveling back up to it. You'd take a left right there, and we're right there. Took 30 seconds to kind of walk down to the church building there. So it was a really convenient opportunity to get to be there for that. I'll go back. It's Carrick-on-Shannon, the River Shannon. So it is right there. Really, the town is divided by a river. So you saw sites like this much of the time, boats out there and the river and that kind of thing going on. And while we were there, we knew going over, Josh had told us that there was a little bit of community event going on there. They had a little bit of a carnival, a Carrick Carnival going on that weekend. It was a bank holiday over there. And a little bit like our federal holidays, it wasn't some type of memorial or observation. It's purely, okay, the banks are closed that day, so a lot of businesses are closed that weekend, so great opportunity to have a day off, that kind of thing. And so we knew they were having a festival that weekend for that. But what we didn't realize was, apparently, until we got there, Carrick was actually a destination spot for many around the island to come. Maybe they wanted a holiday away from town, and so they'd come visit Carrick. So there were actually a lot of people there that weekend, a lot of people not even local to Carrick, but that was the place to come. And they'd have, Carrick was known for having weddings there, and so bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, there are all kinds of folks coming in from in town that we didn't realize till we got there. So it was an awesome opportunity for the outreach events that we had going on that week to be able to minister to them. I'll go through a couple of those. One that we did, that's a picture of, they've got a market there, kind of like our farmer's market that you would have. Every Thursday, they would have a market, and folks would be selling produce and flowers and cheese, or all kinds of things there. And so the church would set up a table there and pass out literature, pass out Bibles, just talking with the folks. And Josh, the pastor there, he had one thing that we enjoyed. He had learned to play the bagpipes, plays the pipes. And so every Thursday, he'll bring his pipes and he'll just start playing there. And it always draws a crowd. They love it there. Folks will come and they'll come listen to Josh, and they'll come the vendors there who see him every week. They love it because it draws a crowd there, and they've gotten to know Josh and Carrick Baptist there. And so we enjoyed. I didn't get a video of that right now. I guess I should have put that up for us, but it was neat to be able to see him play. Just a little opportunity for him to minister and for folks to get to know him. And so we were able to participate in that on Thursday. What we actually did, we broke into two groups. Half of us would spend some time passing out literature, talking to folks, and then the other half of us. This was kind of our first introduction to Carrick when we were there. The other half of us kind of just got a lay for the land. We kind of just did a walking tour of the town. It wasn't that big, frankly. And we went by the riverside. We kind of saw the shops, saw the people. Okay, here's the churches that are here: Church of Ireland, Catholic Church, those type of things. Just kind of getting a lay for the land. What is Carrick like? What are the people like here? What is the town like? So it was a good opportunity to get to do that. We had several other. There's the market itself, able to go in and just see what's being sold, what's going on there. We had several outreaches. We had a kids program that I was able to speak for at that. Had a bunch of kids come out there. One of the things I laugh at, I see some of the kids going around with the beads. I know Caroline and others, the beaded lizards. Well, that was our craft while we were there. And so all of us were kind of helping the kids do their crafts. And I had these two little ones that I've never made one of those beaded lizards before. Caroline, I needed you there with me at that point. I couldn't keep up with the lady who was telling us how to do it there. By the end, I kind of look up, and my jet-lagged brain was kind of done by the end of that. I think we made, and the kids were like, oh, thanks, for that. They didn't help too much. So it was a good opportunity there. We had a teen outreach, teen activity. A couple other churches, sister churches in the area, brought their youth group as well. So we had a good number of teens come for events to do that. And then we had an interesting one. This is our downtown. We had a late night outreach event. Like I mentioned, this was a bank holiday and there was a lot of folks in town. Well, once a month, Calvary Baptist has a late night outreach where it's Ireland, where it feels like the national sport is going from pub to pub, is drinking. You know, there's Guinness signs everywhere as you go. That's just the culture. That's just the folks there. And so late night, especially while there's visitors in town, they'll just pub crawl. They'll go from pub to pub and go downtown all hours of the night, that kind of thing. Well, the church will take out a table and they'll set up tea. You know, hey, when you want a break from all your drinking and all that, come on over, free tea for you. And folks are going, what is this? What do you got going on here? And they'll share Christ with them. They will share the gospel with them. So we did that evening. It was a good opportunity it kind of started at 10 in the evening. That's kind of when the sun went down there. And we only stayed out for about an hour, 15 minutes. The culture there, they are late to rise and they are late to go to bed. And that's just Ireland there. Several of us, coffee drinkers, want to get up in the morning and go get a cup of coffee, but the cafe or the little bakery that's got coffee, it's not open till 8:30 or 9 in the morning. None of these 6 a.m. McDonald's runs or 6:30 hit Starbucks on the way to work. It's not till 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, because why would you get up any earlier than that? But they'll stay up all hours of the night. That's why they get up so late in the morning. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic, a little bit different than our American schedule of things there. And so it was a neat opportunity. Several of us got to talk to folks. I got to talk to a lady, Mary. She actually was from Carrick. We talked to another gentleman. One of the claims of fame for Carrick on Shannon was you could see signs everywhere. They were voted the cleanest town in Ireland, like 2025, clean it. I don't know. I guess some community they've been voted on. And it's because they are a tourist destination. They want these bridal parties to come. They want these folks to come to get the tourism there. Well, there was a gentleman, a street sweeper. He was just cleaning the streets as we were going by. And so we said hello to him, talked with him for just a little bit. We brought out the sign, cleanest town in Ireland and all that. And he didn't seem to love the folks coming in like maybe the shop owners would enjoy for like that. He didn't love the cleanup for all of that. So we talked with him for a bit. And Alistair, the assistant pastor, he was out with us that night. He talked with this gentleman for a long time. And we talked with Alistair later on. I think one of the biggest ministries, something like this late night outreach, is not necessarily for the visitors coming in. We got plenty of opportunity to talk with visitors and come and go, and Calvary Baptist maybe never would see those folks again. But people like this street sweep, or people like this lady Mary, who is a local of Carrick, they see them out every month. They see them out at the market every week, and just a constant presence to them, knowing, hey, we're here, we're loving on you, we want to share Christ with you. Like I said, it's Ireland. The Catholic Church is predominant in that area. To talk about a Baptist church, that is foreign to many people there. What are you, Protestant, or what are you, Church of Ireland, or what are you? So that's a little bit more of a foreign concept than in America. Many people are familiar with a Baptist church than they would be in Ireland. And so often people are asking questions. They're not familiar with what type of church are you? What do you believe in? What do you believe about baptism? Those type of things. So it was actually very interesting. It was a good opportunity to share Christ with folks out there. We were there, that lower right, there was a ladies' brunch one day. Amy, Brad's wife Amy, spoke there. A lot of ladies of the church and the ladies in our group were there for that. And then the upper left, we were there for Sunday service. There Sunday morning we had a service. That's Josh speaking there. I've had a couple people asking, oh, did you do a lot of music? No, not really. We didn't really do any special music. Josh, really, the culture of their service, they sing congregationally, but no silly looking guy up in front of here waving their hands around keeping us together. Annie played the piano for him, and Josh would stand in the front row and he kind of would sing loudly with his voice to make sure everybody sing. But everybody just knew the song, or there were words up on the screen, that kind of thing. Really no special music, anything like that, just congregational singing together, reading, preaching the word together. It's very basic, very simple service, very effective service there as well. So really didn't do all that much music. We sang a little bit for like the teen program, or sang some with the kids, that type of thing. But Really wasn't there to do music stuff. Really was just kind of to serve and share the gospel and kids program, those type of things. So we had a Sunday morning service there. Sunday night, some of our team members were able to go with Josh and a couple other folks. They are attempting to start another church. There's a Bible study going on maybe about a half an hour away from Carrick and Ballynamore. And so very small at this moment. Josh was even kind of like, hey, don't bring your whole team. You would probably overwhelm the small Bible study there at that point. So just a handful of us. I didn't attend that one, but a few of our team members went out Sunday afternoon for that Bible study, went with Josh over to that. So that was a good opportunity for them as well. Let's see. And then, like I said, there was the carnival that weekend. I think it was Sunday night. They even had fireworks there, not even in the States. And we got some fireworks opportunity to go there. So that was a kind of a fun thing. There's a picture of our van on the left that we drove. There's a funny story with that one. It was planning on Brad Parker would drive, and then we thought we needed a second vehicle. I was gonna be the second driver for that, but we get there, we were renting a vehicle from Dublin, right from the airport. We get there, we get our vehicles, and we figure out that we really can all fit in the one van. We weren't sure that our luggage would fit in the same vehicle. We just didn't know that it'd work out. Well, we figured out, one van's big enough for us. There's no need for a second one. So Brad did all the driving. But I mean, if you're thinking, you're over in Ireland, you're over in the British Isles, they drive on the wrong side of the road. They would disagree with me saying that, but they drive on the left side of the road. And then when you're in the vehicle, you're driving on the other side. The driver's seat's on the driving wheel is on the other side. And so it's a little bit of an ordeal. And this was Brad's first time doing all of that. And so he did a great job driving, but the first couple days, you could tell the wheels were turning in his brain. He's having to think through, roundabouts going on here and where, I need to make a left or make a right. And am I crossing traffic right now or what's going on here? And so some of the dynamic of the team, Brad Parker is the school administrator there, and several, including my sister, teachers, or they worked at the school at some point. So they had a good working relationship with him, and they go into church together and all that. And so the peanut gallery would sit in the back, and they would essentially make fun of Brad the whole time for all that. So it might have been our second day there. We had driven over to the Moors to meet up with them over at their house, just 5 minutes or less to get from our place to theirs. And Brad is pulling out. We're leaving, and we're pulling out of their subdivision, and it's a fork in the road. You turn left or right, and so he's turning right. Well, for me and you here in the States, that's no problem. We'd turn right and off we'd go. But when you're driving on the wrong side of the road, you're gonna cross traffic to turn right. And that was no big deal. There was no traffic there, but jet-lagged brain, and you've never done this before, you're thinking extra hard at how to do this. So he's turning, and it's a wide turn. You're crossing through a lane and all that. And he hits the curb on the far side as we go, and he actually loses his hubcap. Well, he has no idea he's done that. His brain is so much on what am I doing right now? He doesn't even realize. And I was up in the passenger seat with him the whole way. I guess I was his navigator the whole time. And I turned to, I realized he doesn't realize what's going on here. He doesn't realize what just happened. And I turned to him and I kind of calmly, because he's still a little stressed about what's going on here and all. Brad, you realize you lost a hubcap back there? And the back of the van is clearly deadly silent back there for a minute because they are trying not to bust out laughing at him in that moment. And after he realized, the peanut gallery just goes bananas. The rest of the trip, they are making fun of him the whole time. And so, the rest, he didn't even attempt to put that back on. He was just gonna give it back to the rental company and all there. So that was just one of the many jokes we had going on there. So I think that's Jared taking a picture to document the tomfoolery we had going on there. So we got along pretty well as we did. We got to do some sightseeing there, beautiful Irish countryside. It is as green as you'd think it would be there. A lot of pasture land, a lot of hills, that type of thing. This is up one of the days, he took us to the caves of Kesh. And so this is kind of a little bit of a panorama that we're able to see. You notice there's a lot of clouds going on right there. The weather there is cooler than it is. It was probably in the 50s and 60s most of the time while we were there. And then rain was coming and going all the time. You take your raincoat with you. It was not fronts that come through like it does here. It wasn't evening storms. It was kind of just, it'd rain for 15 minutes, it'd stop for a few minutes, it'd rain again, it'd stop, that kind of stuff. So you didn't want to get caught out there. We got there, and it's actually a very beautiful day when we flew in. Sun was shining. It might have been in the 70s there. And everybody was joking with us, like, oh, you came on the perfect day. And okay, so what? And then we realized the rest of the week, oh, okay, it's going to rain the rest of the week while we were there. But beautiful. As we were there, it's kind of the caves of Kesh. We were able to see some castle ruins while we were there as well. Good opportunity to see some sights. We were there through Sunday, and then Monday, Josh took us up. We were going up to Derry, Northern Ireland, and on the way, he kind of took a sightseeing a little bit. These are some cliffs. The famous cliffs are in the south of Ireland, the cliffs of Moher. These are not those. These are larger than that, but these are a little more out of the way, so they're not quite as popular in that sense. All the tour buses and all that go south instead. And I didn't write down the name of this location. I should remember off the top of my head. I'll think of it after I'm done talking with you. I forget. But it's a little bit overcast here. And actually, we were probably up there half an hour, 45 minutes, probably 20 minutes into us being in there. A front kind of came through. It just started raining while we were there as well. It was neat that there were other people. It was a tourist location. There were other visitors, tourists there traveling as well. And Josh brought his pipes again. He ended up playing kind of, it was a neat opportunity. There were tourists, folks there with us, otherwise just kind of walking through. And they see him kind of setting up his pipes, and they look at us and they're like, is he getting ready to play? We're all like, yeah. So everybody's phones started coming out and they're recording him. So that was a good opportunity. Very beautiful. There's a picture of him up there. And plenty of sheep. We saw plenty of sheep wherever we went there. So that was kind of very, very Irish as we were there. We then went up to Derry, or you could say Londonderry, Northern Ireland. I thought this city was fascinating. This is Northern Ireland, so this is part of the UK. This is separate from the Republic of Ireland, where we had been staying. This is literally part of the United Kingdom. Derry or Londonderry is the second largest city in Northern Ireland, just smaller than Belfast. So it's very much an urban ministry there, very much city-like. The pastor there that you see there talking with us is Pastor James Wilson. He is the pastor there, a local gentleman there. There's a missionary couple from the States there serving with him, Josh and Bethany Furin. They've only been there a couple years from Tennessee, that they are up there as well. And I thought the history and the ministry up there at Derry was fascinating. He's giving us, we were up there Monday, he kind of gave us a walking tour of the city because there's a lot of history there. Some of you guys are familiar a little bit with Ireland and the UK, and there's strife and there's conflict there, particularly in the 80s and the 90s, and you'd hear of there'd be terrorist actions there, there'd be bombs there, all kinds of conflict and strife. Derry was an epicenter of a lot of that. There's Bloody Sunday from 1972, where, I forget if 13 or 14 Irishmen were killed by British paratroopers there. Well, you don't hear about that so much anymore. There's not so much open conflict, but there's still remnants of it in Derry. There's a Protestant side of the city. There's a Catholic side of the city. It's divided by a river as well. And so one side's Catholic, one side's Protestant. And even in that, there's almost like an island of Catholic on the Protestant side, and there's almost an island of Protestant on the Catholic side. It's almost like a yin-yang kind of a symbol thing going on there. It's a little bit odd in that way. And there's still a lot of bitterness and a lot of hatred. There's not necessarily bombs and deaths going on there, although there is still a little bit of violence every once in a while there. But there's still hatred. There's still, I was describing this to somebody after I got back and kind of talking through this, and I think it was Brian Reddick I was talking to there, and he put it a great way. He said it's almost Hatfield-McCoy's. It's almost, well, my parents and my grandparents fought and they hated you guys, so I'm going to keep on hating you guys. It's a lot of that going on. It's not necessarily Protestants, Catholics. It's not necessarily a religious conflict. As you start to talk to folks, not many of them really are very religious. I mean, maybe they're part of the Catholic Church, maybe they claim to be Protestant, that type of thing, but not really a whole lot of religion at the base of all of this. It's more so Hatfield McCoys. It's more so just families. Just we've always fought against each other. We're going to keep on fighting against each other, and so there's a lot of that going on. Calvary Baptist Fellowship is the church that Pastor James pastors there. They're on the Catholic side. That is the older side. There's the old city that's actually even walled from hundreds of years when Londonderry was established. And so they're on the Catholic side there. Even part of that conflict, I forgot to mention, you might have noticed I've called it Derry and I've called it Londonderry. What you call the city gives away if you're Catholic or if you're Irish. Or Protestant, excuse me. Which side are you on? It is officially referred to as Londonderry. If you look it up on a map, you look it up on a globe or look it up online, you're going to see Londonderry. That would be the Protestant name for it. That would be the official UK name for it. But if you're Irish, if you're Catholic, well, that's Derry. That's Derry, Northern Ireland there. And so really, even Pastor James and Pastor Josh had come up with us too. They were kind of telling us, they were like, sometimes they refer to it as Stroke City. You see it on a sign, you might see London, Stroke, Derry. And so if you want to be neutral towards it, you might call it Stroke City, and you're not giving bias to your conversation already of I'm neutral here. I'm not necessarily trying to say I'm Irish or I'm Catholic or I'm Protestant there as you're saying it. So there's a lot of interesting conflict. Still, like I said, still hatred. You know, maybe it's not shootings and bombings going on, but it might be destroying a statue, or it might be protesting, very loudly, or those kind of things were still going on there. Calvary Baptist Fellowship is on the Catholic side, and the Lord has placed them very strategically on that side. There's Protestant churches on the Protestant side and some gospel believing, gospel preaching churches. But why would they go over to the Catholic side and witness to them? They hate them. Like, that's literally what's going on here. We're not going to go evangelize the Catholic side. And we're the Catholic side to come over and try to start attending Protestant churches on that side. Just the culture there, it would not work. They would not end up remaining. Culturally, it would be hard for them to cross over and to really be an attendee of one of those Protestant churches. And so for Pastor James and the Furins over there on the Catholic side of the river, and that's where their church is, the Lord strategically placed them. They don't have to worry about some of those barriers to, hey, which side are you on? In fact, that's why they don't refer to themselves as Calvary Baptist Church. They refer to themselves as Calvary Baptist Fellowship because some are automatically going to lump them into, oh, you're one of those Protestants. I'm not going to hear what you have to say. You're enemies of mine. And so even what they call their church is really an opportunity to, hey, let me share Christ with you. It's not one side or the other. It's us trying to share Christ with you. And so we were able to be there. We were able to be there for a midweek service. There's kind of a little bit of Londonderry versus Derry and free Derry. Ireland for the Irish. Be a part of the Republic of Ireland. All of that. You can see that right in the city there. A very divided city, and just some of the sites that you could see there. An opportunity on the right side, statues there, and an attempt to bridge the gap there, to bring them together. And notice they're not quite touching. They haven't quite shook hands yet as they're there. So it's an interesting opportunity. They liked their murals there, and so that one on the left, those are the victims of that Bloody Sunday, the paratroopers killing the Irishmen there, men and women there. You saw many of those things. And they will co-opt on that right side. You see a Free Palestine. They'll co-opt a lot of these, social injustice things, or, the Palestinians are persecuted just like we're persecuted. That you see that type of stuff all over the place there. Many more murals like that. The Derry's known for that. We were able to see several beautiful buildings as we were there. On the left side, that was a Church of Ireland. And on the right side, that was just a municipal building. I can't remember the name of that one, but just some beautiful opportunity to see some things there. we were able to fellowship with them, eat with them. On the right side, that's the midweek service we were able to be a part of there. That midweek service, just a few folks there, but I think they were saying really the Lord's doing a great work. It was started originally by a missionary, an American missionary that has since moved on, and the Lord brought Pastor James in to kind of revitalize that church there. And they went from, Pastor James had said, they would previously have a dozen visitors a year come by, just hardly anybody, to now they have hundreds and hundreds yearly visit and come by. The Lord is doing a great work at Calvary Baptist Fellowship. A ton of folks come in. The Lord's really using Pastor James as he is really taking the ministry there, and the Furans coming alongside there as well. So we were just able to be there for a Tuesday midweek service with them, but a very exciting ministry, a very strategic ministry. Pastor James is looking towards the future. They're really established in the old city, but if you keep on going, they often refer to that Catholic side as the bog side. And really it's swampy bog, like, we got our black swamp here in Hancock County, this area, where a lot of the poorer communities out there, a lot of residential areas out there. And he has an eye towards, hey, we need an Irishman to go and to plant a church out there in the bog side, right in the midst of all the Catholic out there and the residential out there. The fields are white to harvest. That's what we need next right there. So it's great to see their vision for what the Lord's doing there. You can see why Pastor Josh and them at Carrick, their sister churches with that church, there's a great opportunity to see them. And so then Wednesday we traveled back down. We were able to see the Castle Trim on the way back down. If you that claim to fame there, if you've ever seen the movie Braveheart, and there's a castle there. Well, that's where they filmed that movie Braveheart there, which is supposed to be Scottish, but they used an Irish castle for that. So I don't know about that one, but it's neat to see a medieval castle there. And then we got down to Dublin, and we were able to go. Very beautiful, very old library at Trinity College in Dublin. I had never heard of. Some of you history buffs or maybe literature buffs may be familiar with the Book of Kells. There's the Book of Kells, which really is a very old copy of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, handwritten by really Scottish monks that then they had to run away from the Vikings, and they came over to Kells, Ireland, and very ornate. What it's famous is because it's survived since the 800s, and because it's beautifully ornately done, many colors going on, and gold trim and all of those type of things. And in fact, there's a I thought was a fascinating story. It was actually stolen from them at some point. It just is so ornate, so beautiful. It was stolen, and they thought it was lost. And then a length of time later, I am fuzzy on, was it next week they found it, or was it years later they found it? I need to Google that one, I guess. They find this book buried with the cover removed. Well, whatever thief had stolen it did not quite realize the extent of what they had. They just saw the cover with the gold and the gems or the whatever else. So they just stole the cover from it, and then we don't need the book. We just buried the book. And so they ended up finding the book again, and it has survived even to this day. Very cool opportunity to see that there. So able to see some things in Dublin there as well on Wednesday. And then we flew back over on Thursday. So it was a cool opportunity to see the Moores there, to see Pastor Josh, to see the Furans. I want to thank you for sponsoring me to be able to go and praying for me as we were there. It was a fun chance to serve the Lord and to see how the Lord's working in Ireland and in Northern Ireland there. I just wanted to share just a thought had from the Word of God before we are dismissed tonight. In our Wednesday night kids program, we are doing a series, a biography of God. Some of you have done that type of study before too. I've done this study before with the kids, where really we kind of ask three questions. We go through the book of Psalms for our biography of God. And we ask, just to make it simply for children, we kind of ask three questions. What do these verses say? What does the Psalms say? I read the verses and what's going on here. Do I understand what's happening? Maybe we go over if we know what's going on in the scriptures. What was this psalm written about? And then second, we ask, well, who is God, or what does God do? I kind of cheat. I put two questions in our number two there. What do these verses say who God is, or what's God doing in these verses? And then we kind of learn a truth. I have a slideshow for them. I don't have a slideshow for us with that tonight. But my God is, and then we fill in the blank for the week what we're studying. And then third, we ask, how should I respond to this? We learn this truth about God, but what good does that do us if we walk out of the room and we go about our week and it does not change or does not motivate what we say or what we do or how we think during the week? And so one of the ones that we've been going through is Psalm 121. Psalm 121, one of the songs of ascent. Several of us have been through the songs of ascent before. They are songs of journey, or you could say they're songs of feast or celebration. There are three major feasts that the Jewish people had during the year that they were to travel from their hometown to Jerusalem to celebrate. And they would travel, and really they would sing these songs on their journey from their hometown to Jerusalem. And so Psalm 121, really, I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. I'm not going over the whole psalm tonight. In fact, usually with the kids, we kind of major on verses 1 and 2. But I wanted to kind of run through verses 3 through 8, actually a little bit. We know from the beginning part, I often use the first two verses, my God is my helper. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. We know as the people traveled on their journey, they used this image of the Lord as my helper. The geography, we hear it. Pastor Dixon will turn our auditorium into the geography of Israel. Well, Jerusalem was up on a hill, wasn't it? So often as they traveled from Jericho to Jerusalem, or as they traveled to Jerusalem, they would literally have to look up. Where does my help come from? Oh, there's the temple up there in Jerusalem. Even physically, oh, my help comes from the Lord. And then spiritually, well, where does my help come from? Well, I lift up my eyes to the hills. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. But verses 3 through 8, what does the Lord help us with? Really, I kind of get down to verse 5. Okay, my God is, I will steal my own thunder. He's our keeper. He's our protector. He's our keeper. Well, I don't know if any of you are watching the World Cup games right now. There's a lot of goalkeepers that we're seeing on TV right now. What's the job of the goalkeeper? It is to protect the goal. It is to keep the other team from scoring in his goal. He's got one job, and that is to protect, to guard, to keep out anybody from scoring. The Lord is our protector. He's our keeper. He is our guardian. He protects us, and David gets into how the Lord protects us here. Kind of three things I kind of take from these three verses. Verse 3, he will not let your foot be moved. He keeps us from falling under the heavy weight of the journey. These people are traveling, they are journeying from their town to Jerusalem. As we go about our life, as we journey through life, our Lord is our keeper. He protects us. He will not let your foot be moved as we have heavy weights or heavy burdens along our journey. We know there are heavy burdens on the journey. We know that the Lord brings in difficult things in our lives. We go through the valley of the shadow of death at times, and that is right to follow the shepherd through those times. But the Lord protects our path. He protects our feet. We do not fall under the weight of the heavy burden of the journey because he's taking care of us. He is keeping us under these things. Psalm 55:22, cast your burden upon the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. And so I'm kind of changing up the order I do these things with the kids. How should I respond when I know the Lord protects my feet, keeps my path under the heavy burden of the journey? How would I respond? Maybe some of you are in the midst of a heavy burden on the journey right now. Maybe there's something difficult, something heavy going on in your life. The Lord's keeping you. The Lord's protecting you. How can you see in your life the Lord's taking care of you? Maybe it's in a little way. Maybe it's in the concern and the compassion of a church member. Maybe it's in family members looking after you there. Maybe it's in a simple blessing of the day. The Lord promises to be our keeper under the heavy weight of the journey. He constantly cares for us. The rest of verse 3 and on. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord takes care of us all the time. He doesn't take a moment off from looking after us. He doesn't let us on the journey unsupervised. When we have need for rest, when we grow weary in the journey, he does not. He is constant in his compassion and his care for his children as we are under the weight of the journey at times. He is always there with us. If we're waking up in the middle of the night and we need to cry out to the Lord, he's there with us. He hears us. If we're in the midst of the day and we feel like we're all alone under this burden in this journey, the Lord is constantly taking care of us. He does not slumber. He does not sleep. Behold, he who keeps Israel, he has the power, he has the strength to take care of his people, to take care of nations. He has the strength, he has the power to take care of us as individuals. He sees us, he hears us on our journey. He neither slumbers nor sleeps. And then finally, he protects us from danger. Verses 5-8, the Lord's your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out, your coming in, from this time forth forevermore. The psalmist uses the picture of shade by day. The sun will not strike you by day, the moon by night. You're in the sandals of the Jewish traveler and you're traveling to Jerusalem. You're probably traveling with your family or with a big group from your town. You're not going by yourself because it's dangerous on the road. You're in the hot sun. You're over there in Israel and you're worried about the sun, about the desert, the Judean area there. And shade is a relief. Shade is necessary for those not feeling well, those for the travel is hard for them. But then as well at nighttime, the moon is not friendly either because what are there dangers at nighttime? Yeah, there's animals at nighttime. There are robbers. There's highwaymen at night, and you can be seen by the light of the moon at night. Really, you would value shade and protection even at nighttime to know that you are protected as you sleep, as maybe your guard would be down during that time. The psalmist here compares that to, hey, the Lord is taking care of you. The shade by there, the shade at nighttime as you travel, as you're worried about dangers on the journey. As we travel our life, the dangers that are around us, the Lord takes care of us. The Lord keeps us from danger. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. You're going out, you're coming in. In other words, God is our keeper through the entire journey of life. God is with us night and day until we safely travel home. The Lord is our keeper. How should I respond to this? How can my thoughts, my motivations, how can my words or my actions this week be affected this week by knowing the Lord's taking care of me this week? If I've got a heavy burden, if you've got a heavy burden, know the Lord is your keeper. He is your helper. Where does your help come? It comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Let's pray, then we'll sing, and then we'll get out of here tonight. Lord, we thank you that you are our keeper. We thank you that you take care of us as we travel along the journey, that you don't slumber or sleep. You don't take a night off. You don't take a vacation from taking care of your children. Lord, you care about us. Lord, we thank you that you protect us from danger. Lord, as shade would protect from the sun during the day or from the moon and from the dangers at nighttime, Lord, you are always protecting us, shading us on your right hand. Thank you that you keep us in our going out and our coming in from this time forth forevermore. I pray that you'd help us this week as we go about our day. Lord, as some here are under a heavy burden as we walk our life, as we go about our life, I pray that you would help us to look to you, our help, our keeper. Bring this to mind. Give us opportunity to serve you this week as we travel along the journey of life. We love you, Lord. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.